There are Black Americans, Black Wisconsinites who have been business owners, entrepreneurs, civil leaders, educators.
Plus, honoring the accomplishments of the Black community, we'll take a look at the impact the African Americans have had on Wisconsin. That is all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke is off tonight. Now, housing affordability continues to be a major challenge in the Madison area, and in 2025, funding changes could cause more hurdles. Our Maddie Heimsch explains.
A local rent assistance program has provided financial help to nearly 3,000 Dane County households facing the threat of eviction. But later this year, the program funding and much of the assistance that comes with it will come to an end.
It was one-time money when it was made available, and it's now just about run its course.
That one-time money came from Congress's Emergency Rental Assistance Fund and went into a COVID-era initiative called the Eviction Diversion and Defense Partnership.
Funding that was from the federal government to prevent evictions in the community.
Since its inception, the fund has put nearly $26 million to Dane County housing through organizations like the Tenant Resource Center.
They can provide housing counseling or mediation services. They can provide assistance going through the court system, through the legal system, and they have funding available to provide direct rent assistance.
But by September of this year, any unused money from the eviction diversion funds TRC relies on must be returned to the federal government.
Then we go back to the world that we knew before COVID and before this tremendous amount of federal resources came our way.
We are very worried about what this is going to mean for those individuals and those families, but it has an impact on schools and jobs and on our entire community.
Tenant Resource Center Executive Director Hannah Renfro says housing uncertainty has only continued to grow.
There are a lot of evictions and a lot of families who are facing an eviction or always on the brink of potentially facing an eviction every month.
The TRC has secured some alternate funding through a grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
But it will be a fraction of what we have had before.
The funding coming to an end is not related to changes at the federal level. The funds were always set to expire in 2025. Reporting in Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. And if you're experiencing housing insecurity, the Tenant Resource Center still encourages you to reach out for help. We have all of their information on channel3000.com. Well, it has been a cloudy, damp day out there, and it sounds like things will get messy during the middle of the week. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is out on the weather patio with more. It's kind of chilly out there.
It is a bit on the chilly side. Temperatures are dropping now that the skies are clearing. We're going to have a cold night tonight compared to last night, and just like Sarah was saying, it's going to get pretty messy this week. Pretty confident that we're going to have this weather system on Wednesday bringing us enough freezing rain and a little light ice, and that it's going to cause some travel concerns as we get into Wednesday afternoon, going into the Wednesday night time frame. Let's actually just get right to it. I'm going to give you a glimpse. Starting at about 2-3 o'clock, starting off as a mix of snow and freezing rain to start off, and then that snow pushes to the north, a little bit more in the way of freezing rain from Madison and points to the south. And even if that snow and freezing rain lightens up a little bit, we'll have freezing drizzle during this time as well, which can cause treacherous roadways as well, especially those that are not treated. By the time we get to the 6-hour rush hour time frame on Thursday, conditions will be on the tail end of starting to improve, especially if we can get our road crew friends to get things all treated as we go through Wednesday overnight with continued improvement and actually a mild day on Thursday, but breezy. Now we're down to 29. It is getting colder, 24 to the north up in Camp Douglas, but still hanging on at 32 in Janesville where the clouds are still hanging on. Got 29s and 30s across Dane County right now. Coming up in Maine weather, I'm going to show you the amounts of snow and ice that you could expect on Wednesday and a first glimpse at accumulating snow possibilities come Saturday.
Thank you, Alex. One person is dead after a shooting this afternoon in Beloit. Police say the shooting took place near the 1900 block of Wisconsin Avenue. Officers say they arrived on scene to find one person shot, and they later died on the scene. No arrests have been made, and this is an ongoing investigation. An Amber Alert was just issued for a pregnant 16-year-old from Beaver Dam. Authorities say Sophia Martha Franklin was last seen at home Sunday night, and she is 3 months pregnant. Sophia is believed to be with 40-year-old Gary Day, the father of her unborn child. Day is believed to be driving a 2014 Buick LaCrosse with an Arkansas license plate reading BBR, that's B as in boy, R, 20L. Now, if you have any information on their whereabouts, please contact Beaver Dam Police. President Trump's tariffs on products from Mexico and Canada are on hold for now, and the federal agency responsible for distributing aid overseas is undergoing some massive changes. Erica Brown has the latest from the White House.
President Trump says his threats of imposing tariffs on the U.S.'s closest neighbors are having desired results.
Let me tell you, in all cases, they all want to make deals. There's nobody that doesn't want to make deals. They've been abusers, and they want to make deals.
The White House confirms a 30-day pause for 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada following calls between the president and the leaders of both nations. Late Monday afternoon, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged to strengthen security at the northern border in exchange for the pause. Earlier, Mexico pledged to ramp up security at the southern border.
They've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers at their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country.
Across the country, businesses like this food co-op in Kalamazoo, Michigan, nervously braced for the tariffs' impact.
Canada, especially tomatoes and mushrooms. Mexico, same thing. Avocados are going to go up through the roof.
This shopper feels the tariffs are a quick way for the U.S. to make enemies.
I think it's a mean-spirited method of getting people to do what you want.
CBS News has learned USAID, which delivers funds overseas to fight starvation and disease, will be folded into the State Department with significant cuts in its workforce and the amount of aid it distributes. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he's now the agency's acting administrator. On Monday, entry to the agency's Washington, D.C. headquarters was blocked. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
These last-minute tariff negotiations drew some concern from Wisconsin officials, not only over what the impact it could have on Wisconsin consumers, but also for Wisconsin companies that sell their products abroad. Now, if these tariffs go into effect, companies would get taxed by moving parts across the border between facilities, even for Wisconsin producers just looking to sell.
And I remember the last round of Trump tariffs and the billions of dollars in lost exports our agricultural community experienced because of it. And especially in Wisconsin, where our leading agricultural industry is dairy, our dairy farmers have struggled so much.
Senator Tammy Baldwin says she believes there is a place for some tariffs, just in a very targeted way. Senator Baldwin gave those responses while touring the Wisconsin Opioid Overdose Response Center at UW-Madison. Recently, $2 million in funding was secured for that center. The money will help to combat the ongoing opioid crisis with a special focus on fentanyl, which currently accounts for over 75% of annual opioid deaths.
The other compound that's contributing to this multidemic is xylazine, which is a sedative compound, an animal tranquilizer, and it hasn't gotten too strong in terms of permeating the market in Wisconsin yet, but in certain other areas of the country, something like 90% of the opioids that are available also have xylazine in them.
Researchers say that at the moment, the only drug that has a good overdose reversal agent is opioids, and they emphasize the need for more access to naloxone for both individuals and providers. Well, on a light note here, DeForest area high school students are bringing a classic movie to life this week. Today, students began rehearsals for their production of the 9 to 5, the musical. The play is based on the 80s film of the same name, with music and lyrics from Dolly Parton. It follows 3 determined secretaries who unite to turn their tables on their corrupt boss.
We've all worked so hard for this, and we really think it's going to be such a great show. We've worked days, nights, weekends, you know, when we probably shouldn't be rehearsing. I feel like everyone has put in so much effort, and I've never seen a cast like this. We're all so committed to this show, and I love it.
So much joy, that's awesome. The musical runs from Thursday until Sunday at the DeForest Performing Arts Center. Tickets are $15 for general admission and students, and then $12 for seniors and military. And when we come back, Alex tells us about the alert day conditions headed our way later this week. and celebrating Black History Month, the contributions made by African Americans here in Wisconsin. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. Here at News 3 Now, we are honoring Black History Month. Every February, people come together to celebrate and focus on the achievements and contributions of African Americans. While it is hard to name every single person who's made a difference in this community, News 3 Now's Kyrian Lee highlights notable achievements of people in Madison and across the state.
Throughout Wisconsin's history, you will find notable Black people who have helped positively toward change and paved the way for generations to come.
There are Black Americans, Black Wisconsinites who have been business owners, entrepreneurs, civil leaders, educators, nonprofit executives, judges, and you name it across the spectrum.
Michael Johnson, president of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County, is among those making a difference in our community. He says while the fight to end slavery and the civil rights movement are an important part of Black history, it goes beyond that.
Like Jay Anderson, who was the first Black barber. So you got people like that who have contributed to the economic engine of the city. You look at William Nolan, who became the first Black candidate for mayor back in 1866 and almost got 45% of the ballot votes back then, which was remarkable during the time.
For nearly 2 centuries, the Black community has played a part influencing and contributing to the greater Madison area and across the state.
You look at 1915, John Hill and his wife opened up the first Black-owned grocery store in Madison. Then you look at Carson Goley, first African-American to have a building named after him. He was a chef back in the 1950s at UW and was the first Black chef in the United States to have their own talk show.
Tuvelle Phillips, the first African-American woman to graduate from the University of Wisconsin-Madison Law School and the first woman and African-American to be elected Secretary of State in Wisconsin, and most recently, the first African-American woman to have an outdoor sculpture on any U.S. state capitol grounds.
And I can go on and on and on, from Barbara Nichols, who was the first president of the Wisconsin Nursing Association, who made history in 1970. I can look at Francis Huntley Cooper, who became the first Black mayor in the state of Wisconsin.
To Richard Williams, who became Madison's first Black police chief. And even looking at today, current Dane County District Attorney Ishmael Ozan is the first African-American district attorney in Wisconsin history. And it doesn't stop there. Inside the walls of the Wisconsin Historical Society on State Street, you'll find more rich Black history on display.
Ezekiel Gillespie was a former slave that moved to Wisconsin in the 1850s, settled in Milwaukee, and he was very interested and a big advocate for Black suffrage in the state of Wisconsin.
He went on to win a Supreme Court landmark case securing voting rights for Black men in Wisconsin. Another Milwaukee trailblazer, Earlene Fuller, set the bar high.
A really good African-American bowler. She started designing clothing for the leagues. She moves towards being a full-time producer and designer of bowling gear.
Looking forward, soon the Center for Black Excellence in Culture, founded by Reverend Dr. Alex G., will provide a space for Madison's Black community and beyond, a place to come together, celebrate excellence, build on innovation and leadership development, and much more. In Madison, Kyrian Lee, News 3 Now.
Awesome, Kyrian. Thanks. News 3 Now will be celebrating Black History Month all month long through storytelling on the air and an in-depth overview on our website, channel3000.com. Well, it's been a fairly fine February day. Oh, that was a hard one to say. But we've got a wintry mix coming along. We have Alex Harrington on this for more.
Yes. We want to be first to inform folks that freezing rain and a little bit of light icing is on the way to southern Wisconsin. This is going to be Wednesday afternoon going into Wednesday night. So let's jump right to it right now. We'll show you the timing of this. A little light snow developing by the time we get to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Madison and points to the southwest, impacting communities like Mineral Point, Monroe, Janesville, Darlington, over towards Lone Rock and over towards Viroqua. And then that pushes to the north, and you see the pink, the purple here. That's that freezing rain impacting Janesville, Monroe, Mineral Point, Platteville, over to Boscobel, Madison, right on the 50-50 line right there by the time we get to the later evening hours on Wednesday evening, going into the beginning of Thursday. Even if the snow and freezing rain lighten up a little bit, this is a perfect environment for what we call freezing drizzle, and that can cause a glaze and dangerous road conditions as well. As we go towards 6 o'clock Thursday morning, the precipitation ends, and then we should start to see improving conditions as we go further into Thursday, which actually will end up being a relatively mild day throughout the week through one of our milder days throughout the week. Overall amounts, I said I'd show this to you here in Maine weather. You're probably looking at this, well, that's not very impressive, Alex, but it takes just a little bit of that ice to cause slick spots, which we've seen numerous accidents this year when you have even just the lightest amount of glaze. Areas that are to the north of Madison stand a better chance of getting a little bit more in the way of snow activity, maybe an inch or two up towards the Dells, Marquette, Green Lake, Juneau, and Adams counties. Madison, an inch or less, because we'll have that mix of that freezing rain in with some of that snow. Can't forget about tonight. We'll see temperatures getting down to 10 in Baraboo, 12 in Madison, 19 in Janesville. Warmer to the south because clouds are clearing out across southern Wisconsin right now. They'll just take their time to clear out, probably closer to daybreak on Tuesday. Tuesday's looking cloudy, high temperatures in the upper teens to the lower 20s across southern Wisconsin. So we trade today's cloudy, misty temperatures in the 30s to cloudy and colder on Tuesday out ahead of that alert day system. Here in Dane County right now, we're down to 29 at the airport, 29 in Middleton, 31 hanging on, our friends to the south in Belleville. Across the rest of southern Wisconsin, here you see again colder to the north where conditions are clearing out with skies becoming clear and the clouds still hanging on towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. As we plan the rest of our night going into tomorrow morning, don't be surprised to wake up to wind chill values in the single digits above and below zero. So you're going to definitely want to bundle up on Tuesday. And that's before our alert day Wednesday. I said at the 6 o'clock newscast I'd give you a glimpse of what this weather system could look like on Saturday. So let's quick do that here, showing snow breaking out across southern Wisconsin. Weather models in decent agreement as we head into Saturday that accumulating snow will be in the upper Midwest, and southern Wisconsin stands a good chance.
And still to come in sports, why the Brewers are asking fans to say cheese, the facial recognition software that they'll test out next year, next on News 3 Now. Carter Gilmore's 5 years at Wisconsin have been a roller coaster. As Greg Gard put it, he's done it the hard way, walking on as a freshman, earning a scholarship, and now finally seeing all that hard work pay off. Gilmore scored a career-high 15 points on Saturday, all in the second half to spark Wisconsin to a road win at Northwestern. He was the X factor in a must-win game that will be remembered as the Carter Gilmore game.
I mean, I think people really don't even know I'm a walk-on again this year, so paying for my school and doing that, that's just how much I love this place. I really am a Badger. I would never go anywhere.
Carter's been here through COVID. He's played in front of cardboard cutouts and everything that's, so he's seen a lot in his career. So for him to have those type of moments, obviously you want really good people that have been loyal and worked their tail off in this program to get rewarded.
And in other Badger news, John Tonje has been named to the Oscar Robertson Trophy mid-season watch list, an award that's given to the nation's top player. Tonje leads the Badgers in scoring and ranks in the top 10 in the country in both free throws made and free throw percentage. The last Badger to win the award all the way back in 2015, of course, Frank Kaminsky. Meanwhile, the Bucks were in action tonight, but may as well have just waved the white flag. Giannis, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, and Brook Lopez all got the night off against one of the best teams in the NBA, and what would you expect? They got pummeled. They were losing 78-44 after half and ended up losing it 125-96. It was another week, another #1 ranking for Wisconsin women's hockey. The Badgers claimed the top spot in this week's USCHO poll yet again after another 2-win weekend. A big part of those wins was the play of Ava McNaughton. The Badger netminder stopped 53 of 55 shots that she faced on the weekend, and for her efforts, McNaughton has been named the WCHA's Goaltender of the Week. To the football field, where a trio of Badgers have been invited to this year's NFL Combine. Hunter Wohler, Jack Nelson, and Joe Huber will look to improve their draft stock during a week-long interview process in Indianapolis. The Combine starts February 24th. And if you go to a Brewers game next season, you might not even need a ticket. That's right, Milwaukee is testing out MLB's new go-ahead technology at their home plate and third base gates that will use facial recognition software as a fan's entry into the game. The program is completely voluntary and meant to speed up entry. Fans that do want in can submit a selfie of themselves to the MLB app after purchasing tickets. We'll be right back.
This is a great story. Look at this one. California's Department of Fish and Wildlife helped one massive animal after the recent wildfires. In a post on Facebook, the department says an Altadena homeowner had to be evacuated due to the Eaton fire. But when they returned, the utility company said power couldn't be restored because a bear was under their home.
Yeah, normal thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, this bear is known around the neighborhood as Barry, or Victor. You know, why not Victor? An expert was called in to remove the animal, but after assessing, they determined Barry was too fat to be tranquilized.
Oh.
So they had to have a bear trap placed nearby, and within minutes, Barry came out of the crawl space and says, "I am Victor." Barry's fine and has been released. The homeowner's utilities are restored, along with the crawl space now being bear-proof. But everyone in the neighborhood said, "Oh, that's just Victor or Barry.
Oh,
He's harmless."
He had to be starving being under there for so long.
I know, but back
Happy
in the wild.
ending.
Exactly. I love the
Yes.
happy ending. And we have a, mild ending, moderate ending to the weather.
Maybe not such a happy ending to the forecast, I guess.
Yeah.
Alert day conditions on Wednesday. We need to be prepared for some icing Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. And thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great night.